hi again, folks. I'm Greg Flynn, the Public Information Director here for the City of Pearl with another edition of This Week in Pearl. Now, this week we're blessed. We're going to have an extended session here with our mayor, and he joins us now, Mr. Jake Windham. Happy spring to you, sir.
Happy spring to you. Thanks for having me today.
It is looking beautiful outside. You've got things blooming all over the city, and things are just looking good, aren't they?
Yeah, it's nice. And once that spring weather comes in, sunshine comes in, you know, kind of gives you a new reset on the year. Beautiful weather. You know, at some point during the winter time when you see all that gray, you're just waiting for blue skies. And it's one of my favorite times of year. Outside of the warm air and the cold air crashing and having severe weather, outside of that, it's been really nice.
Well, you know, the whole theme of the topics we're going to talk about today is rebirth and rejuvenation as we get geared up for spring cleaning. First thing I want to talk about something that's been in the making. You're going to finally be able to spring over Pearson Road there at the railroad tracks for the Pearl Richland Intermodal, which we're going to have a groundbreaking for.
We are on April 27th. We're going to have a groundbreaking. That particular project was in progress when I came in. We had about $9 million that was earmarked back in 2008 or 2009 as Mayor Foster left office. So we've been able to expedite that project over the years. We have had some shortcomings just because I think people have heard me talk about it before, the work windows that KCS allows us to operate in when you're actually constructing a bridge. It provides only half a day as far as work's concerned. So that drives the production price up 40%, which last spring it put us over $2 million of what we needed. A total of 4 if you counted the CE&I part of it, the inspection aspect of it from our engineers. And we went back to the drawing board, and there was basically a design from our engineer was a 3-span bridge. We received permission from MDOT to take it from a 3-span to a 1-span bridge, which was able to cause the project's ultimate cost to go down. And then we went to the legislature, asked our legislators, Dean Kirby and Gene Newman, said we need $4 million. If at all possible, this is a shovel-ready project. And we had another $2 million from the MPO, which I know that I'm using acronyms and things like that, but the MPO is basically in our local area how we receive federal funding for transportation and for streets on functional classification roads.
Okay.
So we got we received a $2 million grant, and it has to actually be in place and being used by September of 2021.
Okay.
MPO requires us to bid the project before that so we don't lose $2 million. So there was a lot of things that had to line up. We needed the money so we could bid the project. You can't bid the project unless you have the money in place according to federal highway standards. And with Gene and Dean, working with also Senator Josh Harkins with the legislature, he's the finance chair over there, we were able to get $2 million appropriated this year and $2 million appropriated next year, which that satisfies the requirements of MDOT, and we're going to be able to move forward. We're going to bid the project prior to September 2021, which will allow us to keep the other $2 million that we have in federal grants from the MPO. You know, and it's just a very good providence for the city. Things don't always line up like that, and they did, and I'm very thankful. So having a groundbreaking, Hemp Hill Construction is going to do a smaller aspect of the project where they're going to relocate utilities. They're going to upgrade the current signal there, and they're going to bring Atkins out to 468, and all that's within the overall design of the project itself.
The great part is that it'll be a two-way, certainly, that Pearl folks will be able to get to Highway 49 a lot faster down into Richland, but we're looking forward to letting Richland people come in and do their shopping here. They can get here faster, right?
That's correct. And just to give you a little bit of a look of how the bridge is going to be, it's going to be 2 single-span prefab bridges. They're 180 feet long.
Okay.
So they'll be set in place by cranes once we get to that part of the construction phase. And the second part of that is this first phase, that what we're doing is a safety project. Number one is for fire to be able to get over the train tracks, and it's for traffic. I don't know how many years. I mean, I've been in Pearl all my life. Actually grew up in Grandview Heights until I was 5 years old, and just remembered always being in traffic down there and have the frustration of other people. Let me take that back, hearing my mother being frustrated. I'm 42, so I'm 36 years ago, 37 years ago. So it's going to be really good to be able to get over that railroad track. And the second part of it is supposed to cut through 1,000 acres. We do not have the funding for that now, but that'll be a big economic development project. And what we're looking at is when the second phase ties into 49 and opens up 1,000 acres, what we want to do is work with the Mississippi Development Authority on trying to get a mega rail site there. Would be the only one in the state. Yeah. So naturally, the landowners down 468 in Pearl, if we ever did, it's pie in the sky, but if we ever did get that in place, then you would have commercial sprawl throughout that area, because having a mega rail site, and it would be very beneficial for the city and certainly those landowners that live on the 468 corridor.
Great economic development. Another project that we're seeing almost completed now is the Upper Drive detention pond, which is about 60% complete. They do have to pour a ton of concrete in there for a structure, but during these past heavy rains, it may only be operating at 60%, but it kept a lot of water contained from flowing down into the city.
It did. Shane Burrell, our public works director, and I, we discussed that a lot, and he wanted to make sure that we had some components in place up there so we could see basically the fruits of our labor with the construction project. And at 60% of being completed, we were able to see some things on our end downstream, which is behind City Hall. That's where we're trying to combat the historical flooding. And Bailey Street was pretty tough still, but for the most part, it didn't get any houses, and we saw some lower levels of water with the amount of rainfall that we received. So we have more to go on that particular project, but we're thinking as long as we can have a stretch of good weather, and I can't predict that.
No, we stopped trying to do that.
Yeah. So, but I do try to manage expectations with weather conditions. Shane said that we need probably about 2 more weeks of really good weather in order to pour the concrete structure that's going to be required in the design to be put in place, and then it will be fully functioning.
It is awesome. And then they'll turn their attention. The work never stops. Then they're going to move over to Country Place and get going on that detention pond.
Right. And that is the beginning of Neely Creek, and that's going to provide relief to Skyway Hills, and also it's going to provide additional relief to King Heights. So it's going to affect a lot of people. And we're going to hold back a good bit of water, because over there we're putting 2 5-acre detention ponds
Which would be double the size of what Upper Drive is, right?
Yes, the Upper Drive is approximately 6 acres.
Okay.
And if you think about it, Greg, which I'm not casting stones here, but prior to Country Place being built, prior to Hines Community College being built, Skyway Hills probably didn't flood like that.
Because it all stayed in the wetlands over there.
Well, that's right. It didn't come that way. I mean, they were not trying to drain that big neighborhood and then try to drain all the sheet flowing off of the asphalt from Hines Community College. Mm-hmm. So things were a lot different probably 35 years ago. But with us being able to put these 2 detention ponds in, I think we're going to do a really good service to our citizens. And we've talked about them for a long time. And I just want to reiterate, when, the first part of this, when 2018, it was conceptual. It was engineers saying, can this work? Will this work? 2019, we go into the point where, we put it in the budget to do it. Mm-hmm. Well, it took us a whole year to get wetland credits almost through the Corps of Engineers. And that's just red tape that we can't help. There's a process. And once the Corps of Engineers finally provide us the permit, then we had to do the purchasing of the wetland credits, which we had budgeted that. However, they're more expensive than what we previously thought. However, we got the permit in place, and for me, it's like 2018, and you're telling folks that this is what the process is. I just want to make sure that we talk about it, but every time there's some preliminary things that we have to put in place that requires us or allows us to even do the project to begin with. So it's finally culminating, and when you see those things and things coming out of the ground and things getting completed, it's very helpful for me. It's motivating for me because I know that it's helping our people. That's what I think about.
Well, one of the projects that people are seeing right now that's moved a lot faster, and some people will say, well, that's just a little thing, but it goes towards the whole beautification of the city. And those are the new street signs that are going up that you'll see along the main corridors. We're getting rid of the green and we're going with the white, really easy to see at night with the beautiful Pearl Magnolia logo.
Yeah, that was just part of the whole rebranding structure. We've looked at a new logo. We've put that on all of our new events. So just to try to piggyback on that with our signs throughout the city, and quite honestly, some of those signs were very old and we needed new poles and new signs. And that was a little bit more of a process on what people we wanted to make sure that we captured the right sign. So I had several people look at it, groups of people look at it, and we wanted to capture, maybe, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's the spirit of the city and everything. And for me, if I'm doing anything, we're gonna throw some blue and gold.
Of course.
Yeah, you got to throw some blue and gold in.
And they look really, really good.
And they look good. So the thought process was to put them on our main corridors, not at sections where you have black mass arms. It's a little bit redundant to put street signs and then you got a marquee up here that says the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're needed. And it crowds an intersection too. So that's why we put them on different intersections where you didn't have a black mast arm.
As we go further down the line, though, do you foresee getting deep in the neighborhoods?
I think that probably we would look at doing some of that, a little bit of an abbreviated sign to go into the neighborhoods. Sometimes neighborhood traffic, just my experience being a police officer, some of those signs get hit more, laid down more. So it might be from a standpoint where we go with new signs and stay with the galvanized U-channel post. They're a little bit more durable, and but I don't know. I mean, that's a big project, and we're going to be working on that this summer as well.
Well, the neighborhoods will be seeing pretty soon. We'll see an official list come out, but your big plan in the council, the Board of Aldermen's plan, is to get more roads repaved in this city in the next year.
Yeah, we spoke with our financial consultant, Nick Shore, and he works for Government Consultants, and he's a CPA. He's a man with a wealth of knowledge. He's a sharp guy, and we got him hooked up with Twala Grant, our budget director. And the city has a city debt account that there's so much millage that is set over into that account, and that pays long-term debt, whether if we buy some fire trucks or things of that nature. Well, that fund itself has a good fund balance in it. And I just want to remind our citizens here, we have taken out a $2.1 million road bond several years ago. It's already paid off. And then we took out another one with 2.4, and it will be paid off next year. So I think if you pay off $4 million in approximately 3.5 years, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a conservative approach. However, we're going to have some other things, other expenses that come up, and I know that people have talked about it. You have infrastructure issues that you want to make sure that you don't overexhaust a fund. So you want a fund balance to continue to grow. And so I talked to Nick Shore, talked to Twala. I say, look, I'd like to get a road bond in place that we could do more comprehensive road paving to try to get us to a maintenance level. And then we can put roads in the regular budget every year for each district. And I think that goes a long way because we're playing catch up. And I want to have a significant impact on our citizens without hurting the city financially, because that's something that you know as well as I do. I'm pretty tough when it comes to the budget and making sure that we're keeping those things in check. And so what we've agreed to do, and I've placed it or presented it to the board, was a $4 million road bond over a 12-year period. The second thing, the reason I wanted to go ahead and do that, I think everybody sees that the interest rates are at an all-time low. So money's never going to be this cheap. And then if we do this over a 12-year period, it's not going to have much of a burden on our city debt fund, and our city debt fund is going to continue to grow with the fund balance. So it's going to be healthy. It's just a prudent measure to take, and then also you're able to provide better infrastructure for your citizens.
Oh, lock it in while the rates are low. The other thing that for cleaning up and springing forward that we want to talk about is you have done a tremendous job working with the community development department here, and you drive around town and you can see that businesses are being held to a high standard to the code of ordinances that we have. You guys are really enforcing those right now.
Well, we're trying to, and it's like I said, I've had some meetings with some business owners, and it's not one of these situations where Big Brother's coming in telling you what to do in a bad way. The reason, I'm just trying to clean up. I'm trying to be a good steward with the city that the Lord's given us.
Sure.
And I'm not talking about to the point where we're over and above. It's general maintenance. And I can tell you from this standpoint, my father, who owned Wyndham Optical, he took a lot of pride in making sure that his business looked good. And then my uncle Tom Wyndham, he's got a business here, Wyndham and Lacey. It's a CPA firm. We try to keep our things looking nice and presentable, and our people deserve that for our city. If you're going to come operate here, then you need to know, hey, we want to have a sense of pride, and we want things to look good. And
reinvest in your own businesses.
That's right. Reinvest. And the truth be known is, if you take care of that, and some people might disagree with me out there, but if you take care of your business and you make your business look presentable, you're going to get more business.
Of course.
You're going to have more foot traffic coming into your business. And but we're trying to be fair in doing so. We're not coming in here Gestapo and roughing people up.
It's got to be done by next week, or you're out.
No. We're trying to be fair and understands these things take money and working with people. And a lot of times, actually, the business owners that we're talking to or we're working with, and I'd like to say partnering with, they understand it. People get busy. And just like from residential code enforcement, people get busy, people are working, people are taking care of kids and things like that. That's another side of it, where we're just trying to maintain home values. The largest investment that you have in your life, and we want to make sure that again, people are being good stewards and thinking about their neighbor.
Well, you're working and you got kids. I understand that, but you don't let your grass get 3 foot tall.
No.
That's the whole point.
That's right.
Is what you're going after.
Yeah,
is to clean up those neighborhoods. And an opportunity that people are going to have is the city spring cleanup is coming. It's going to run May 3rd through the 15th. And it's going to give them a chance to really get rid of all that vegetation that may be laying around their house, the dead stuff that fell during the winter, and then get rid of appliances and all kinds of other kind of household things as you kind of reinvigorate their own homes. We're going to give them the opportunity to take it out to the city landfill for free.
That's right. And that's a good tool. We feel like that reaching the people halfway and opening up the landfill for several weeks, it gives people the opportunity to say, hey, look, I can get that old appliance or this old fridge that I have in my garage and get it up there. The only thing that we don't deal with is the paint and also the tires.
Right.
We don't deal with those two items. However, there are alternatives to that. But when you do that too, it goes just along with the fact, say, hey, if you're wanting me to clean up, then
give me somewhere to put it.
We're providing you an opportunity to put it somewhere. And the landfill will be open 6 days a week. Right now, we have the landfill open from 7 to 12 on Saturdays. We will extend those hours during the cleanup just because people have different things going on. Like me, I might have 2 or 3 soccer games on a Saturday morning, and then I'm not going to be able to get to clean it up on a Saturday afternoon. Well, and I'm sure that my wife will have me doing something during this time of cleanup.
No doubt, because the easiest part about your vegetation, we're going to put it up on the screen, all of the stipulations. So any of your vegetation that you have, if you get that out by the curb, Public Works is going to do several sweeps across the city to come and pick it up over that 2-week time frame. get it out to the curb in a nice pile, separate hopefully the leaves from the branches, and they'll pick those up. And I know that for getting the big items that you talked about to the landfill, you know, if you're a senior citizen, you're disabled, we always make accommodations so they can contact Public Works and we can work something out to get it transported.
That's
away.
right. That's right. We try to take care of our elderly and our disabled folks that don't have the body to be able to do these things. So if they can make a note when they call, and just we'll make a note, excuse me, and we'll make sure that we help those folks.
These are exciting times. I know spring, again, it's all about rebirth. You drive around the city, there's so many projects underway. Like I said, half the city looks like it's under construction, and we talked about this probably 2 years ago, and we're like, you know, we keep talking about all these projects, but at one point, the whole city's going to be worked on at the same time, and then they're all going to be done about the same time, and then it's really going to be, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice. I think I remember talking to you about that, saying, look, we have all these projects are basically on deck. When they finally get going, then the people are going to know that there has been a lot of work done. There's been long hours put in every day, and I'm just glad to see it. I'm glad to see it. Really, for me, it pleases me more for our citizens to know that things are happening in their community.
Even though it may look like City Park is going slow, right? I mean, you can see it working out there.
Yeah, you can. You can. It's like a snail some days to me, and I know it is for our people too, but I promise you, I do want to make sure that I clarify this. City Park is not in liquidated damages. They are within their contract. Their contract is October 15th, and but the contractor has reassured me on several occasions that he's going to have it done before then. And
the grading on that creek takes a while, but that's looking good too.
Yeah, that's going to be much more approachable. Like if you take your kids up there and you want to have a picnic, you want to throw down a blanket. I mean, it's just a little bit more quaint atmosphere. That's what we were going for. That's what our architect, Jamie Ware, when he designed it, you know, he's a Pearl grad. And, Jamie took a lot of pride in designing our ball fields and our park because he grew up here and graduated high school here, and he continues to be very successful, but it meant a lot to him to be a part of that project. And now we get to see it come out of the ground, even I guess in some areas, at a snail's pace.
Well, and again, that's for the people out there, you know, just manage expectations. Yeah, it's not going to be ready for this summer. Hopefully we know it'll be done by the fall.
Yeah.
But it won't be ready for this summer. Same thing with the baseball and softball fields. It's getting closer, but probably I think the latest on those is probably June, July.
Yeah.
July at the latest, but probably in June sometime.
You'll see an extreme amount of progress because of us coming out of March and April and entering into May, and they'll be able to get a lot more done. You know, all that's based off weather conditions. Even if you go up there now, you can see that they've done a whole lot than what we have in the past. Softball has been a struggle throughout the time because there's so much water that drains that area. So being able to work, if you have a heavy rain, it really, really prevents progress from occurring. But I think that we're well on our way there. And you're right, that's the time frame that we're looking at is June right now. And
so expect to see a lot of big tournaments. Probably in that July time frame before the kids go back to school.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that's contacting our Parks and Rec director, Scooter Myers, about that, and we're excited. And the other thing that I want to tell the folks that actually utilize our recreational facilities there on Center City Drive, we're going to wait for all of that to be constructed. Then we're going to come back and pave into the complex. It doesn't make much sense if you have a bunch of construction heavy trucks coming out of it right now. But we're gonna pave School Drive that runs parallel with the golf course, Center City Drive all the way up. Plans are also to pave parking lots at Center City and pave the existing soccer parking lot on top of constructing a new concession stand up there as well. So there's things that keeps happening. We keep knocking down dominoes. We're trying to find some more things to get involved with, and I believe we will. We have a plan.
Exciting times, and I have to tell you that I applaud you for your patience because I know you've learned to be patient since coming into office.
Yeah.
That it's you have to manage your own expectations. That you want to push people, but then you're like, okay, I understand.
Well, it can be too much at times if you got to make sure that on some of these things you use critical thinking skills, think objectively and not emotionally, and you see what's going on. And I think for me, trying to sit back and say, okay, things are in place, all the ducks in a row, we've done all we could do. Let's wait till we get to the other side, and you have to gauge yourself and chill out a little bit. But you're right. That's been something that I think have helped me grow as a man from a personal standpoint.
But how's the patients doing, just on a personal note, with Maggie Kate doing soccer and Staten's baseball?
Well, that can be a little bit different. My wife took a different job recently, and I turned into Mr. Mom. And yeah, I was like, have you really been doing this? Anyway, here's a horror story, so I'll tell everybody this. I didn't anticipate getting Staten to baseball practice in time with the traffic and everything. My wife is very good at that. And I leave work just kind of nonchalant and all that, and I call my wife, and she's like, you're where right now? Yeah, I'm on Airport Road. He's not going to make baseball practice today. And you know what? We didn't make baseball practice. We pulled in the parking lot late, and I was thinking, you know, God made women very special. Moms know what they're doing a lot more than dad in some areas. But yeah, I do appreciate it, and I enjoy doing those things with them. But you know, when you're running around town all the time, I applaud all these parents, especially these parents that go out of town on weekends for tournaments and everything else, and then you come home and
get right back ready for work.
Wiped out for work, and you go back to it. So you got to love it.
Well, good luck to them as they continue the seasons.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun. Good times. Thanks for coming in.
Yep, I enjoyed it. You have a good day, Greg.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple of city honors that were bestowed upon our Police Officer of the Month and the City Staffer of the Month. Stay with us. This Week in Pearl continues right after this.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl to enjoy a Mississippi Braves baseball game or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
WPBP and PMB TV would like to thank our latest sponsor, Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is located at 403 Riverwind Drive. With over 32 different types of donuts, they can take care of your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can now choose from their menu of sandwiches, wraps, and muffins. And don't forget the drinks. Along with coffee, espressos, and lattes for your morning drive, they also have soft drinks, cold brew coffees, and smoothies. The Pearl Pirates run on Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, before we go, I want to let you know a couple of great honors that were bestowed upon a couple of our great city employees this past week at the Board of Aldermen meeting. First of all, we want to tell you about the Police Officer of the Month, and that goes to Officer Brandon Jordan. Brandon is an unbelievable go-getter, and he has got a knack for tracking down folks up there on the interstate. He also is our canine officer. So Brandon has been doing a great job. He was honored with a plethora of gifts from the Pearl Chamber of Commerce, so generous, and he was joined by many members of his shift at the board meeting as he was honored as our Police Officer of the Month. Our Staffer of the Month here in the City of Pearl goes to the Public Works Department and Mr. Taylor Hester, and Taylor is a foreman on one of the trucks in the Water Department. He's one of those guys that is selfless and jumps out there in holes when there's water leaks, and he'll dive in the water with his guys, and man, they are just some unsung heroes in our Public Works Department. You don't realize how nasty it is until you have to get into a hole full of water, dirty water, as they're trying to find where a leak is located. So some really nice honors there for Officer Brandon Jordan and Taylor Hester with our Public Works Department as they were honored at the board meeting. Well, that's going to do it for us. We look forward to talking to you again very soon. But remember, until then, Pearl is always the jewel of the crossroads.